It's usually the on-field calls that clog up the headlines, some dubious ones there. This week, some off-field decisions have got a lot of airplay. David Pocock has been suspended for 2 games, 3 weeks, for a neck lock on Michael Leach. He's the guy that got the sidekick in the head from Bismarck a couple of years ago. Guy on Twitter reckons he's got a moermee gezicht. And then Gary Gold's wallet's going to be about 150,000 Rand lighter. He was fined for popping in to have a chat with the TMO.
Yeah, look, so there's 2 levels of unacceptancy there.
Okay. One, unacceptancy might not be a word, but it's okay.
Unacceptability, that's got to be a word. Okay, so Gary was naughty, fact. But truth, Bob, that is a ridiculous penalty. Especially if you compare it to what's happened in the past. Michael Checker, in trouble with referees, got suspended for what was it, 6 weeks. Then goes and has a word with the touch judge or the TMO. All he got, it was just his legal fees that he got pinged for. I don't know if you saw on the weekend, Kevin Foote, the force coach, he was on the field having a chat to the ref, trying to get uncontested scrums. Not even a sighting. So it's the level of responsibility and how it changes from one country to another.
One game to another.
Yeah, exactly. But perhaps we're just bleating South Africans. But it just looks like it's always the South African that takes the heat. But to my mind, I think it boils down to, there's a level of frustration about how the TMO is being used. And I think we need to relook the protocol. For me, the TMO has the best view in the house. This whole business where they refer down to the on-field referee and they look up at the big screen, all big screens are not created equal. I mean, the Newlands one is smaller than my phone, whereas the one in Sydney is is bigger than my house. So if we're going to go TMO, let him make the call. He's an experienced referee, or let's make them experienced referees. He's got the flat screen there. He's got the producer next to him, and also this whole deciding which question he's allowed to ask. Listen, buddy, you see anything untoward? Okay, he has a look at his flat screen, HD, says, okay, this is what we do. And we try and move towards a central protocol that allows the best decisions to be made every time.
Right. I mean, on that point, Tank, the on-field decisions as well, referees are asked to basically tell a story and interpret a lot of things based on imaginary lines. I mean, that's part of the reason we have these issues where sometimes guys get off and sometimes guys don't.
Oh, it's a big bugbear of mine. I think, so the game for me has become, it's got too many laws. That's the one thing. And too many laws that are left open to interpretation.
Grey area stuff.
Yeah, grey areas. So, I mean, the scrum, the breakdown, just so many areas where, if you're a Northern Hemisphere, if you're a French referee, you'll interpret differently. And I think that also just increases the level of frustration. So I think we've got to get down to less laws and less interpretation. You and I were chatting in the office the other day. If you need to bind on a ruck with your whole arm, it's not complex.
Precisely.
You don't do it, you get pinged. Initially, there'll be lots more penalties, but then it's no grey areas and it's black and white. That's where we need to go to.
Spot on. Let's get to question of the week. Our man wants to know, the New Zealand sides are unbeaten the last 3 rounds. And Crusaders and Chiefs, in his opinion, are basically new sides and they're still dominating. How are they doing that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for me, there's 2 things. I don't think they're necessarily new sides. I mean, the Chiefs have lost Sonny Bill. The Satyrs have lost McCaw and
Danny Carter.
Yeah, I have heard of him. But that doesn't make them new sides. So I think they do 2 things correctly. One is they only got 5 sides. We got 6, so that diluted the pool. They kept the 5. I think they rotate very well. Their talent conveyor belt is very, very good. They also pull in guys from the Pacific Islands. So they have it's not a larger talent base because it's much smaller. But I think it's slightly more refined, and they have a culture that tells them to pull youngsters in, and they keep them going through the system a little bit better than what we do.
Spot on. I agree with that. That's a wrap for this week, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. As always, stay with us as we head into round 7 and beyond in Super Rugby, and be sure to hit us up with your questions using the hashtag ThinkTank. Until next time, ciao.